Hey there, guys. Welcome to another episode of our weekly podcast at Fighter's Den. Today, we have another special guest with another huge collection, and I will say another huge action figure collection, one that I really admired and I've been looking at for a couple of years now, and also a little bit of envy as well. That how come he has so many DC collectibles and all this, which I couldn't get my hands on. But please let me introduce the legendary Asoka.
Oh
Asoka,
man,
welcome onto the show, man. Please go
very
ahead.
kind, Babar. Thank you so much, guys,
No
for
worries, no
having
worries.
me. I'm honored to be
Yeah,
on this. Very kind words. Very nice. Thank you so much
yeah,
for
yeah.
having me.
Yeah, no, the honor is ours, dude. And
Oh
we've
man.
got so
Absolute
many
honor.
people in our group as well who follow you already.
Oh
They know
gosh.
about you and you know about your collection. There's one guy in our group who's really drooling over your Superman. He couldn't be here today,
Oh man.
but he would just marry you, just for your Superman
So
Shout
collection.
out to
sweet. I
GB,
appreciate that.
Johnny
I'm not
Baz.
taking I'm not taking proposals right now, but
Yeah,
you never know. We never know what's gonna happen, guys. We never know what's gonna happen.
Absolute.
that's great. Okay, on with the first question, Ahsoka. Tell us about yourself. How did you get into
Yeah,
collecting?
yeah.
Give us your background. Give us the dirty
Oh
details, man.
man,
We
all
gotta
right,
know.
guys. All right. Well, I usually don't like talking about myself, so you're putting me on the spot. But let me know if I ramble on too long. But yeah, I've been collecting. It's one of those things. Like most of us, I never stopped collecting. Right? Like I used to be into action figures when I was a kid. I'm old. Almost 45, so I started collecting action like
Art Pio.
superpowers.
Art
You know,
Pio. Art
you guys
Pio.
look pretty young, both of you. So I don't know about
Oh,
that.
come on. We're
You
on the
know,
same age mark.
what? Are you
I'm
serious,
43. I'm 43.
dude?
Yeah.
Rod, she's like 20.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Raj is 18. Raj is
Okay,
18.
there you go. That's what I thought. He's young buck there. All right, so big. I'm gonna just call you Big B because I like that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Big B, like you get it right. So like I used to collect superpowers, into the Kenner Batman figures back in the day, and then you reach a certain point where I remember even thinking about this. Okay, I'm gonna stop buying toys, right,
Hmm,
at some
hmm,
point because that's what
hmm,
you see everyone else doing, right? Like
hmm.
when you get into high school, when you get into those later academic years, usually people aren't collecting toys anymore, right?
True, true,
But for
true.
whatever reason, I just never stopped.
Hmm,
And it like became a thing of me just buying action figures and just displaying them and like
hmm.
not doing anything. I mean, they just sat there on the shelf, and I liked having it like that. Of course, I did that all in secret because Big B knows. I'm not sure of how it was in your part of the world, but in the U.S., you don't talk about action figures in the '90s in high school. It wasn't
Yeah,
very
yeah.
accepted culture like it is today. So
No, no.
yeah, I stopped.
Been there, done that. All right.
Yeah,
Done that.
From the part of the town that I come from, the part of the area I come,
yeah,
it's like Karachi, Pakistan. If I go back to 1989 and 1990s, we weren't looked as the cool kids. But
right.
like you do, like nowadays, everybody wants to talk about DC, Marvel, and
Yeah,
Image Comics and all this. But that time, there was just a small group of people that just used to focus on this. And it's amazing that you mentioned superpowers. Superpowers was one of my initial collectibles that I had that my dad bought me. And the one thing that I remember is that you used to squeeze their legs together and you used to
yeah.
do some action, right? The
Oh yeah, those
Penguin,
are
the
fun, man.
Joker, and so they're really good. And I really appreciate that McFarlane re-released them so I could
Yes.
get some of that action back. Yeah, sorry, man.
Oh,
Continue.
dude. No,
Just
no,
wanted
no,
to
no.
add
I agree, man.
that.
I love those superpowers. I wish I took better care of my toys because those
Hmm,
superpowers you mentioned, they didn't survive
hmm.
childhood, right?
True,
So
true.
like
No, 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 no.
I think for me, when I became a real uh, focus collector was when DC Direct started in '98. So it was maybe
Yeah.
'97 or '98, and when they came out, because for me that was perfect, right? Like the Kenner
Hmm,
stuff. While I loved it, I loved the Batman the animated series, all that and whatnot. DC Direct was like, okay, this is now made for me, my age demographic, someone who does not play with toys, who just wants a toy but looks really nice, a nice like statuesque toys. So you're asking earlier how I had all these have all these action figures. So I collected DC Direct from '98 until it ended
wow.
like 5 years ago, right? So
Yeah,
that's over
yeah.
20 years of buying DC Direct. And then during that time, Mattel had its DC Multiverse line, which eventually became. I started collecting that as well near the end of its run. So my collection prior to McFarlane, mainly DC Direct, DC collectibles, a little bit of Mattel. I just couldn't afford to do
Hmm,
both back then, right? I
hmm.
couldn't collect DC Direct and Mattel. So, and then, of course, with McFarlane, I mean, they're producing like hundreds of figures a year. So the collection is just spiraling. And of course, I got married. So, gosh, it's almost like 10 years ago now. But, having my wife's income, has helped support this habits of mine. I wish I was investing in the stocks. Thank you, Big B.
Special shout out to
Appreciate
her.
that. Thank you. Yes, I mean she tolerates it. You know what I mean? But I can't say she's not supportive. She'd rather we spend our money on something else. But it's all right, dude. It's all right. But that's kind of where I ended up with collecting. And it's just one of those things. My friend Brad, he pointed it out, right? Like I don't buy old figures. I don't buy stuff from the 80s. I don't buy. I call it nostalgia collecting, right? Where you just buy stuff from your childhood and you display it. But I guess I do. But I guess what I am doing is having that feeling of collecting from a kid. That's the nostalgic part for me, probably, is why I still buy them. Because it is like something I just never grew out of, right? So I'm sure you guys feel the same way. It's fellow collectors, right?
It's the same thing, whenever we look at a collectible or we look at a toy or an action figure, right? It's a sense of nostalgia, it's a sense of moment that we had as a child, right?
Yeah.
And one thing I'll tell you is one thing that I regret really is not having the DC multiverse line, because in my opinion, that is one of the greatest lines out there. They had action figures of DC from every single generation and down to comic accuracy. I mean, McFarlane's also doing a couple of stuff right now that is comic book accurate, but in terms of quality and in terms of presentation, I would say those guys were pretty much better. And that's some topic that I'll come on to later on as well.
Yeah.
What is the more focus with DC? Is your love with DC more than Marvel? I've seen a couple of Marvel things in your collection as well.
Yeah,
right? I've seen you post
if you look
as well.
If you look at my comic book collection too, you'll see there's a ton of Marvel like comics. So that's a great question. I think it's just one of those things where just like a sports team, for whatever reason, you end up gravitating to a sports team, even if they're good or bad or winning. You just naturally, and you guys are probably cricketers, so I'm sure you have you're loyal to your cricket teams. But same thing with DC. Superman the movie got me into superheroes. Then Batman '89. Those were very formative for me. I still loved Marvel as well. So I just gravitate to DC a little bit more than Marvel. I do dabble in Marvel Legends. Every couple of years, I start a Marvel Legends collection, and then I sell it. As soon as I realize I need more money for DC stuff, I start looking around at what I can get rid of, and always Marvel is the thing I'm fine getting rid of. Like DC, I cannot sell a DC figure. Unless I needed to, unless I lost my job, and obviously I had to. Of course, I'll do whatever I need for my family. But as far as I have like 700 figures in my garage and bins, and they're all DC, and I can't sell any of them. Just it's like partying with a child for me. So it's definitely just the love for DC, love Marvel, of course. And honestly, I think if I was rich, I would, and not that I'm not doing well for myself, obviously, with all this stuff. But I would love to have both. But you have to make choices too as a collector. I know you guys know that, right? When you're buying something, you're thinking about the space. Where am I going to put this?
Absolutely.
Even all those figures I have in the bins, I'm trying to not buy something that's just going to end up in a bin, or I'm trying to circulate through my bins now more and start showing more content. But I'm sorry, that was a very long-winded answer. It's just DC is my team. That's it. That's what it comes down
that's
to.
a good thing that you brought up space. And one thing that I like about you, and one thing that is amazing, is that you called your hut Shed of Solitude.
Yeah.
That was just iconic. With the first time you showed it, I said, "Wow,
man, thank you, man.
Amazing.
Appreciate that, dude.
Amazing.
Yeah, that was necessity, because we found out my wife was pregnant, right? So I had a room in the house where everything was. But I learned very quickly, I started to freak out, because I'm like, okay, the kid's going to be in here. All this stuff is either going to end up in boxes in the garage. And I had to figure something out. So the shed, the nice thing is I work from here full time too. So now it's has two purposes, right? I do my nerdy stuff, but also I work from here. Of course, I don't show this when I'm working. I have a fake background. When I'm working, it's too much of a conversation starter. People ask too many questions about it, But I love the shed, man. I'm very grateful that I have this,
Awesome, man. Awesome. Really awesome. Really awesome. Really awesome. So what else about your collection, that you would like to highlight right now, that you think that you want to show the fans,
Oh, man.
I understand right now.
So much. I mean, listen, we could, that Hot Toys Batmobile right there.
Oh,
that was always a grail for me, right? So like, finally getting that when they re-released it last year was
Yeah.
just it was everything for me. And I do have the Jazz Inc. one on the way next
Yeah.
month. So, again,
Sorry.
it's like I don't know if I'm gonna do a two of those, but it's
Mm.
I just love those Batmobiles. And you can see the collection back here, the stuff I
Yeah.
display.
Crazy.
Amazing.
It's a
Amazing.
lot of stuff. I love my Hot Toys. I mean, it's
Yeah.
a mix of McFarlane, DC Direct, and Mattel in there. So yeah, it's very hard to highlight something in the collection. I really love it all, man. I really love it all.
Amazing. Amazing.
You
Amazing.
know.
Amazing. Amazing.
Now, are you in your office, Big B, in your house? Like, is it a
No, no,
little
I'm in
like
my
section?
house. I'm in
Yeah.
my corner of solitude. All
There it
right.
is. There it is. Hey, man. We also listen. Eventually, you'll get your own room of solitude, right?
Done,
Rod,
done, done, done.
what about you? You seem like you have a little bit more room over there for your stuff.
Yeah, bro. I'll show you something. Just a minute. What I call
Yeah.
it.
Let's see. He's got the shirt going. So you're from Pakistan, Big B.
Yeah, yeah. So is Raj. Originally, we were born and bred there. All right.
Yeah.
Raj was in the UAE, but our
Oh, look at
ethnicity
that.
is Pakistani. But then we, are here in the UAE. We've got jobs here, and working
Oh,
nine
that's
to
awesome.
fives. Yeah,
No,
yeah.
my brother-in-law is Pakistani. So
Wow.
my niece and nephew are
Nice.
half Pakistani. I'm Sri Lankan originally.
Oh,
So
Guess that
nice,
from the
man.
second name.
yeah,
Nice,
you guys,
nice.
yes, yeah. So like, I'm Sri Lankan. I was born in London though, and I moved here when I was 6. That's why I
Oh,
sound very
amazing.
American. But like,
Amazing.
my mom, she's still, very ethnic. My family, my upbringing, very desi. Like my mom's still in the morning trying to make me breakfast. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Yeah,
Hovering, very loving, but I'm also 44, so I'm like, hey, mom, relax a little bit. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
but she's very sweet. She takes care of our kids every day.
That's
So very
sweet.
grateful,
That's
man.
sweet.
It's so I get the culture, man. My brother-in-law, dude, he plays cricket every weekend. Very
Whoa.
competitive. He's Muslim. Are you guys both Muslim? Are
Yeah,
you?
Yep,
yeah.
we both are
There you go.
Muslims.
There you go. Yeah, yeah. So I gotta make halal stuff for them sometimes because when his family comes over, so I'm all in
Yeah.
that culture, guys. So I'm very
Amazing, man.
appreciative of that.
Amazing.
Sure,
You
brother.
know.
Anytime you're, around this part of the world, please don't hesitate to give us a
Oh
call,
man,
drop a
absolutely.
message, come on,
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
just hang
I
out,
got. I've
We'll
been
take you to
thinking
the big
about.
steakhouse, man. A few
Oh,
hash steaks.
dude. Yeah. All right, dude. I'm down. Yeah, like I want to take my kids to Sri Lanka at some point. It's just
Oh, nice.
the cost to go there and that part of the world. I mean, I love our people, man. The brown people, as they
Uh,
call them. You know what I mean? I
that's
love
straight.
seeing
That's straight.
fellow brown collectors as well. So what I gotta
Love
ask you
that.
guys,
Love that term.
Raj, maybe what's it like buying stuff over there though? Like
Actually,
access
that
to
was my next question to you also, Ashoka.
yeah.
First thing first, this place is Raj Cave, and
Yeah.
that
Oh,
is
that's Raj Game. All right.
Raj Cave.
Love
My
it. Love it,
arcade, I
man.
call it Raj Cave. And this is
That's
from
awesome.
Sri Lanka. One of my friends, he bought this
Oh, look at
puzzle
that.
thingy.
Oh yeah,
Very
I have one
nice.
of those.
See? See?
Oh man,
Now we
I
are
have one of
talking.
those. Dude, that's the stuff I always buy to bring people. And it's funny because they
Yep.
save it, you know?
Speaking of cricket, it's in our blood. So I'm the captain of my team.
Oh, right there, Raj, right there. I never got into cricket, but I'm more Americanized. I appreciate it
Oh,
though. I appreciate the game, obviously. But
That's so cool.
I'm
Speaking
sorry, go
of
ahead,
your
Raj. Yeah.
question, let me ask you a question, sir. The thing is, we both were thinking about it.
Yeah.
Nowadays, let's say anybody who's getting into this hobby, what's the toy line that you are going to, recommend to these novice
Yeah.
to
So
begin with?
yeah. No, that's a great question. So if you're getting into the toy collecting, world, it's obviously McFarlane makes the most sense, right? Because with McFarlane, especially DC, it's the most accessible. You can actually go find them pretty easily. Even if you wanted to go deep with McFarlane, there's no figure that's like $300 really right now, right? There's a few that have gone up in price, like the Grim Knight, some of those earlier figures. But for the most part, you could probably get every McFarlane figure you want. It's interesting. I went to a toy show here a few weeks ago, and it was all McFarlane now when it comes to DC. Like maybe 5, 6 years ago, it was still DC Direct and Mattel being sold at these toy shows, but now it's all McFarlane. So that's kind of the era we're in. Highly recommend McFarlane. DC Direct. I love DC Direct. I still, I have some on my desk right now that I was making
Oh,
content
no.
for. I love them, but honestly, you buy these. Look at that. See, Raj knows what I'm talking about. Yeah, like you have the issue of them breaking pretty easily, the joints,
The
because
thing,
I don't
yeah,
know
yeah, yeah.
you know.
That's an
That's an
But
issue right there. Even when they first came out, could break, and now over time, some of the joints have gone more brittle. So that's the only thing. If you want to get into toy collecting, I'd say go with McFarlane for sure.
true
Or
that. One
oh, go ahead.
minor. Let's talk about the quality of it. What do you
Yeah,
think about it? Over the years, for how long you're buying these McFarlane toys, and have you found
yeah,
any, let's say, decrease in quality, or it is still on par level with the whatever was there in
yeah.
the past?
Yeah,
Pretty
great
good, huh?
questions. Yeah. So I've been collecting McFarlane since they started, right? So since the first wave, I've been collecting it. And, I think it's fair to say with McFarlane, as with honestly DC Direct and 12, quality is, I don't want to say hit or miss. It varies, right? Like even
Mm.
Mattel, I have figures where they've crumbled at some parts of the joints because of
Mm.
age. Same thing with DC Direct, we just talked about. Honestly, I would say with McFarlane, though, I've had the least amount of legs breaking off and joints breaking off out of all three of them, right? Now, if you want to talk quality of like the plastic and things like that, I think we're gonna have to wait and see kind of like how they call it the diaper
Mm.
piece, right? This crotch
Yeah,
area.
yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
how is this gonna be in 10 years? Like, is this plastic going to be solid and still be a solid figure? Also, the weapons I think is an issue with McFarlane. The
Mm.
they tend to start to like they're
Bend
not very
over, yeah.
strong.
Bend.
Yeah, so that's I think that's the biggest issue with I think consistent quality with them is just the accessories bending. But I think again overall, least amount of things broken for me with
Mm.
McFarlane. Definitely
Mm.
a couple of things, but over like what
Mm.
5 years, I haven't had to rebuy something because like the thing totally snapped or anything like that.
Mm. But I
We
think there
can
was a
say the quality.
time
Yeah.
in McFarlane, right? There was like I remember I bought the first wave as well with the Batman Who Laughs, and then you
Yeah,
had the I think the 80 years anniversary Batman figure that
yeah,
came out at that point in time. So
yeah,
that was the two things that I bought, and it was like a 3 or 4 piece that we had Batman Who Laughs, and then you had maybe Nightwing and then Batgirl, and you had
yeah.
the pieces of the car with it, and you
Yes,
make a
yeah.
Batmobile together, right? So that
Oh
was
yeah,
the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
at that point, I remember that the quality was very, 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 very good.
yeah,
And since start I was collecting, this, but I think around the mark when they started doing, maybe the sixth or seventh wave when the
yeah,
Flashpoint figures started to come, that is where I started to feel the same things that you were feeling: the
yeah,
swords bending, the capes, maybe
yeah,
little scratches used to come on it quickly. But other than that, in terms of collection and the amount of
yeah,
variety these figures have, it's covering everything. I mean, they did anti-monitor. That's
yeah.
amazing.
Exactly.
I
I
love that.
I will say I totally
Also, the
agree with you.
library
Oh,
of,
go ahead.
let's say, yeah, yeah, also the library of McFarlane, it's too huge. They covered everything.
Yeah, they've gone deep in the bench, right? Like they're making figures like that icon figure they released a few
Mm,
weeks ago, like
mm,
the Jonah Hex, which you don't see. I
mm,
think one issue I would say, not even an issue, it's
mm,
a they do reuse the bodies quite a bit now.
mm,
Like the
mm,
same kind of figure they painted.
I
Like
don't, yep.
I get why, right? It's for money. They're able to make more figures by
true.
reusing the body
Mm,
parts. I do miss sort of the first few waves of McFarlane where they were all original sculpts, but
mm,
I think that wasn't sustainable for them, right? To from a business perspective, like no
true.
toy line can just make a new sculpt unless the
Mm,
the price is a lot higher. So I guess
mm,
with
mm.
McFarlane, are you guys able to easily get things over there for McFarlane?
Yeah, yeah, McFarlane
Yeah.
is pretty much easily
Yeah,
available here. But the unique McFarlanes, right? The ones which are the gold label ones, those I haven't
yeah,
seen over here. And the videos that I've seen, the pictures that I've seen of you, having the gold label ones,
yeah.
their quality to me looks like, way above the ones that, the normal ones that,
Gotcha.
that we used to got. I mean, it's a huge difference I can see.
Yeah, but
Especially if you look at the Green Lantern and the Superman that you have for gold label, right?
yeah.
The quality looks really good.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the reason I asked about availability is that I still
Mm.
get so many people messaging me asking where to buy this stuff overseas.
Yeah.
And I remember I did a contest once, a giveaway on my Instagram, and I did it worldwide because I was dumb, right? So
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, anyone. And someone in India won. So I'm like, oh, cool.
Wow.
How about Indian? But then, dude, it was going to cost me $700 in
Oh
customs
my
fees.
Oh
It was
God.
like I shipped the package and they contacted me. The customs people are like, oh, hey, the custom fee is $700 or something ridiculous
God.
to get him the figure. Like I just shipped a regular US postal and like it wasn't an expense. It was like $100 worth of figures. So like they ended up destroying it because I couldn't afford to pay $700 or whatever it was for the custom fees.
Wow.
So I couldn't do international giveaways after that. And I feel bad because I try to help out people when I can, but like with customs, it's challenging, right? Like to send stuff to other countries. But I'm glad you guys don't have any issues getting. I know the gold labels and the platinums are probably harder to get, but
Very hard.
yeah, that's the thing. I know like international distribution is always
One
something
thing that has
you know,
helped collectors here is like shop and ship, right? Where
yeah.
they give you a US address and then they ship it over here. So that has helped a lot.
Oh, that's
Uh,
awesome.
Yeah, that's helped a lot in terms of, you get stuff from big bad stores as well. Oh, okay. So that is something that's really huge.
Now, I'm curious. Like we were talking earlier about how when we were growing up, the culture of collecting wasn't something to be proud of, right? Like
Yeah.
in the United Arab Emirates, like are
Emirates,
people
yeah.
impressed with in your collection when they come in and they look at it? Do you like
Absolutely.
select? Yeah, that's awesome.
Absolutely. Some of the craziest collectors we have are over here.
Yeah.
And I've also got taken inspiration from one. Even Big B over here, it is nothing that you are, looking at over here. He has
Yeah.
stacks and stacks of stuff. So he needs a bigger
Ah.
space to just show off, flex. Um, bro, collectors are, this is a
Everything is
huge
under the
market here.
bed right now.
Very,
Everything's
yeah.
Oh
under the
man.
bed.
Oh, that's great. I had no idea. I'm learning today. So that's amazing. And I love that it's funny because I do see videos from your part of the world, but it's
Hmm.
usually some really rich person with a Batmobile in their garage, right? That's the video you see over there. And what do you
Yeah.
guys do? It's a weird hobby, right? Because especially as I get older, I'm thinking, okay, I 20, let's say I'm 45, I live 30 more years if I'm lucky, right, to 70. Okay. So what's the end game here? Because I keep buying more and more every year, like more and more. I have to run out of space. Even if I had the biggest house, right, I would
True.
run out of. I have enough figures to fill up my whole house, right?
Hmm.
So like, how do I like? What do I? When do I stop? When do I like say, okay, this is enough? Like, is it when eventually, like, let's say McFarlane stops making figures? Do I stop then? Like, do you guys think
Mhm.
about that stuff? Do you guys like wrestle with it?
Only
Yeah.
apocalypse, or zombie
Yeah.
zombie apocalypse. Nuclear holocaust, something like that.
Something like that. Okay, okay, that's fair. I feel the same way, honestly, man. I've
Hmm.
tried to slow down, but it's my main hobby.
It's so
Like,
tempting, you see something, the
yes,
box, the packaging, and you're like,
yeah,
yeah, I'm ordering that. I need that. And speaking of, let's say, I believe we all three of us are huge Batman fans first,
yeah,
right?
oh yeah,
Okay.
absolutely, yeah, yeah.
Okay. We are. What were you saying about the Batmobile, sir?
No, I was gonna say like, yeah, you're
One
right.
of
Like,
the.
I've tried to like slow down on collecting, but it's the same thing, Raj.
Okay.
I just have to keep buying. Like, I just love
There's
this stuff so
there's
much.
no stopping, sir. There's no
It's
Yeah,
the
stopping.
the
People are crazy.
mentality of us, collectors that we gotta have more and more
We
and more
gotta
and more.
have more and more.
yeah,
Yeah.
And
and
I
I,
agree with your point that there has to be an endpoint, but whenever you
right.
reach that endpoint, suddenly something else comes up, and you gotta
Bobber, in our case,
dive
it's
back
the
in.
worst, You, Bobber? In our case,
Yeah.
it's the worst. We collect physical 4Ks. Then we
Mm.
are after the collector's editions of the games.
Yeah.
Then the retro figures. Even, let's say, okay, luckily, to the contrast, yesterday there was a gentleman who was into retro toys more.
Uh,
And today we have a gentleman who speaks of the latest, era of
I,
Latest
toys and all
toys.
that.
See, at least with retro toys, there's that you could like finish something, right? Like you buy all the superpowers, you're done. As you
Mm.
put that away. It's funny, but I collect 4K movies too. Not as much as I used to, because again,
Okay.
space. I'm like I don't have time space for that. But yeah, it's very interesting, and it's like I used to think, am I addicted to this? Is it an addiction? Like, should I start smoking instead? Is that a better way? You know what I mean? But like, I wish I was into hiking more than I was
Mm.
into toys.
Mm.
But I love this stuff, just like you guys.
No, I'll tell you
Absolutely.
something.
Absolutely.
I was, a chain smoker about, 5, 6 years ago.
Yeah,
And I should collect as well. But I'm telling you, the high that you get on collecting, playing video games, and
yeah,
geeking out, that is just something else. I mean, right now, talking to you, I can relate more with you, right?
yeah,
With other things, right? We can sit
yeah.
down, we can talk about DC, we can talk about Crisis Infinite Earths, we can talk about Multiversity, we can talk about writers as
Right.
well, and cardbook
Oh
hangers and
yeah.
all these kinds of stuff, right?
Oh
So
yeah.
that's something that, we over here miss as well, right? me,
Yeah.
Raj, we want to interact with people that, who have the same mindset, who have that same, experience, I would say, as us, right? While we
Yeah.
were growing up. So
No, great
that's an
point,
angle.
man. And that's what I love about social media. I know social media gets a lot of negative connotations with that, right? And
True,
there
true,
is a
true.
lot of that too. But man, I did not have any collecting friends until I had Instagram. Because
Hmm.
before
Hmm.
I went to Instagram, like I collected solo, right? Like I go to
Yeah.
the comic book store, the toy
Hmm.
store. I'd read stuff on the forums. I'd find out what's coming out. But I had no friends who collected. It was all through
Hmm.
Instagram and YouTube now where I met friends and like connected with people. I made friends in real life. My friend, you might know my friend Rob D Toys. He's come over
Yeah.
here and stayed with me for a few days.
Hmm.
Like so I know the photographer for McFarlane Toys. He lives down the
Hmm.
street from me. We just met randomly, and before he
Wow.
worked, and it's funny. He's an amazing guy. His name's Aesthetic One on Instagram, and
Yeah,
he's
yeah, 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 yeah. I've
so
heard of it. I've heard
he
of it. Yeah,
yeah, like they found him
yeah.
because like he was doing action figure photography on Instagram,
Hmm.
and they reached out to
Hmm.
him like, "Hey, we love your stuff. Like, would you be interested in working at McFarlane Toys?" So that's how he got the job through social media. So it's
Wow.
amazing how you can
True
kind of
that.
get there, you know? So yeah,
Amazing, amazing, man. Amazing. Really amazing. Really amazing.
Asoka, I love your reels, your work, your pictures, but that Batmobile one, that freaking reel, I saw like
oh
10
man,
times and I
oh
couldn't
dude,
decide which one is the best one, which one to
oh
go
man,
after. The
dude, thank you
Tumblr.
so much. I appreciate it,
Great,
and like,
that's a crazy reel. Which one is your personal? I mean, I believe that's the one. I mean, you are placing it at the
yeah,
back of it.
no,
But apart
honestly,
from that, there are. Yeah, I saw the stack of it.
I got to be honest
Ahsoka,
with you.
Ahsoka,
Yeah.
show him. Show him the
Oh,
collection.
the rest of it. So the Batmobile collection is in the. Oh, I'm sorry, I turned off my camera. There is in the
Yeah.
garage actually. So I have
Uh,
started to go into the garage a little bit. So that's where the rest of the collection is. But you asked me what my favorite reel is. The one that is at 1.8 million views, just because it has a million views, is nuts. Like it's
Crazy.
and it's like I wish there was a formula to how to get to those numbers, but it's so weird. Like my most popular reel is just of that. I bought a shelf, right? And I put all the Batmobiles on it, and I just did a
Yeah.
little reel of it, right? Because I was
That's the
like, oh,
one.
yeah, and I'm like, and it hit over 1.8 million views, and like I have
Crazy.
no idea. It just connected. The algorithm picked it up, and it was nuts. Yeah, I have three reels that are over 1 million views, and again, no, I have no idea what the formula is. There is no formula to what gets popular, right? I didn't like spend a ton of time on it. There's not like all this crazy production and cutting with it. Like I think what I've
Mhm.
learned about social media is like, you could spend 5 hours creating a piece of content, or you can spend 2 minutes creating, and you
Like
could
this.
get this and like that, and you get the same results. So that's why I try to get a balance, right? I like making reels. I make them look nice, but like
Mm.
also for me personally as well, like what I love
Mm.
about it's funny because I love the action figure
Mm.
collecting, but what I love equally is the content creating now. Like I enjoy buying the toys, but I enjoy making video and content for the toys even more than the toys. There's the little one right there.
Yeah.
Oh man,
And,
look at that a little future collector. Oh man, she's beautiful, big B.
my
Yeah, look at
Say
pleasure.
her.
hi.
Yeah.
Say hi, Minna. Say
Hi,
hi.
sweetheart.
High
Hi,
five.
hi.
High five.
Say
Oh,
hi.
dude. Oh man, dude, having kids is amazing,
Oh,
isn't it?
yeah.
You
She's trying to
know.
shake your hand through the screen.
Hi, hi. Oh, she's beautiful, man.
Thank you, man.
Oh,
Thank you.
dude.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
and being a father is great, and being an
Yeah.
action figure collector, but I'm always home anyways. Like I don't
Yeah.
go anywhere. Like this is my hobby, is buying
Yeah.
stuff and watching movies. And I'm home with the kids, so it works out pretty
Yeah.
nicely,
No,
But
that's our
Absolutely.
time as well, man. That's our time as well. We're also,
exactly.
enjoying and doing the same thing. And see, right now she just doesn't want to let go of me.
Oh no, no, no. Now you picked
My
her up,
kids,
man.
my kid is
Yeah,
into
she's
Jurassic World and Jurassic Park, so he has all of those range. I mean,
Oh,
T-Rex is
dude.
there. Yeah, every. And if I'm like hesitant to buy, he goes like, "Dad, you are not buying anything for yourself till you buy something for me." So it's like he's blackmailing me.
Dude, what are you supposed to say to that, right? You
Absolutely.
know? Like,
You
yeah,
can't
when I
say
go to
no. You can't
Target,
say no.
I know when
You
I go
can't
to
say no.
the store with my 5-year-old and I try to buy something for myself, I have to buy her something. It's because I'm buying toys. You know what I mean? So luckily she's not into. I guess not luckily. She hasn't really got into
Luckily,
action
bro, I
figures.
think, yeah, she's
I think
definitely
luckily,
lucky.
right?
Yeah, we were not
Yeah.
that lucky enough. Our father was like,
Uh,
you should go out, pull some bench press and this and that. But these kids are like, no, our dad is coolest. He
Yeah.
play games, he collects the toys.
oh man,
So,
it's funny because my dad was a nerd too. He collected model airplanes. He was into Star Trek, just like that's
Whoa.
why I'm into Star Trek.
Wow.
So he was very pro geek, you know. So he
look,
passed away when I was pretty young, but still, it's all. I think it's all from his influence. Most of this
True,
stuff.
true.
Like I wonder if he was into sports and cricket, if I would have gone that route instead. But like he used to paint toys for me, like and did customs for
too good,
me. Like
too good.
yeah, so I don't. I yeah, obviously we're gonna influence our kids in some way, right? You know.
True.
But
Same
Very,
goes for
very true.
Babar and his elder brother, right, Babar?
Yeah, 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 yeah. My family, I mean, our dad was pro, geekness, right? He used to get
yeah,
all the toys, everything for us. I mean, even on yesterday's podcast, we were having someone that was collecting retro toys, and he
yeah.
used to collect He-Man and Master Universe. I told him, on my eighth, ninth, or I don't know, 10th birthday, I got Castle Grayskull and Snake Mountain
Ah,
together.
dude, that's
So
amazing. Do
so
you
you
have
just
any of that?
imagine.
Do you still
Not right
have
now.
those?
Not right now. I
Yeah,
just rebought the republished Origin ones recently.
yeah. Oh, those are
Grayskull,
great.
that, yeah.
Even
But
on one of your birthdays, Babar, I mean, gave you this cape and everything, Batman
yeah,
suit.
yeah, yeah. I had a Batman
He's a
suit as
tiny
well,
Babar in a
everything.
suit.
Oh,
Too
that's
good.
so sweet, man. Are your parents in Pakistan? Are they back home?
No, my dad passed away in
Oh,
2008.
okay.
God bless his soul. Yeah,
God
my
bless
mom's
him.
back in Pakistan.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
we had good. It sounds like we all had good fathers that
yeah,
influenced us.
Absolutely.
true, true.
Raj sound like more of a sports guy, though. I don't know if your dad.
Spot on.
Let's. Yeah.
Spot on. Yep. Fitness, gym, cricket. But apart from that, of course, we run this gaming show. Babar is a very good gamer. So am I. And
Oh
collectors
man,
Super
as
sorry,
well.
man.
Apart
that's one
from
thing.
that,
That's one thing I miss is I used to be a big gamer when I was younger. I used to play
Hmm.
RPGs like Final Fantasy and things like
Oh
that.
absolutely.
man,
I used
amazing.
to
You
love
had
them,
to
but
bought that up.
I can't get into them anymore. Like every
Hmm.
time I'm sitting there playing, I'm just thinking about other things I should be doing.
Hmm.
I can't lose myself in a game like I used
Hmm.
to. That used to be my favorite thing. I sit there
Hmm.
2 hours just building my stats, right?
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
whatever I was doing, and it was
Hmm.
very fulfilling. But now I just can't
Hmm.
enjoy it. Like last game I played was Injustice 2 that I played all the way
Wow.
through. I love
Wow.
Injustice, man. Those
Man,
games
that
are
universe is amazing. Oh, that universe is
it's
amazing.
so great. Like, and I
I
love all
love it.
versions of the DC universe. I love it when they go dark. I love when they go bright. It's got so
It's
much.
just amazing.
So for the both of you, are you both DC guys over Marvel guys, or what's?
DC.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I've been a
Absolutely, sir.
DC guy after the Clone Saga.
yeah. Oh
After
man, look at that.
Spider-Man's Clone Saga,
You're out. You're
man,
done.
I'm done. I'm done. I'm done.
But it's
I'm out
funny.
of it.
You look back now, and like there's a charm to those stories now.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
when you
yeah.
look, you know what I mean. Remember the '90s when we were growing up? They were saying this
That's
was the
right.
worst era of comics.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah,
now,
yeah.
but now I
Absolutely.
look
People
back
are
and
like,
right,
dying for 90s comics now.
dude, I
And they're
love the
loving
'90s so
everything in them.
much, dude. Everything. One of the guys who works for McFarlane, who does the
Hmm.
designing, he's a
Hmm.
big '90s fan. That's why you see a lot of these '90s like Hawkman and things
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Because he's of our age, so that's one of the influences there. And also, one
Hmm.
of the main directors loves the '90s sort of stuff. So it's
Wow.
crazy.
Wow.
But yeah,
Amazing. Amazing.
I'm very lucky with how this has worked out as far as like
Hmm.
it's so interesting with social media, like in our interaction now with these toy companies. Like
Hmm.
I don't work with. They send me stuff to review, create content for. I was on their show yesterday for this like Super Bowl thing a couple of
Yeah,
days
yeah.
ago.
Yeah, yeah,
It was fun. It was just it's very
yeah.
interesting how like collecting toys, whereas even us talking
Hmm.
right now, right, on a
Yeah, yeah.
podcast, it's so great that we could do this now.
True
Amazing.
that. True
Amazing.
that. What
Amazing.
do you think about this Snyder run and all that? I mean, let's talk a bit about movies if it's okay, huh, Babar?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go
Oh
ahead.
man,
You
I'm a
you
big
enjoyed the Snyder run,
oh huge Zack
Batfleck.
Snyder fan. I love all of it. Right? I mean, dude, I thought it was fantastic. I love Man of Steel. I love BVS. I love Zack Snyder's Justice League. I think they made some mistakes. Obviously, from the management perspective, they got a little scared
Absolutely.
after the
True.
reviews of
True.
Batman versus Superman. And like to be fair, it wasn't the most audience friendly movie. right? Like it wasn't what people were expecting. But I love it. I'm grateful we got it right. Like I know a lot of people are upset that Henry's not in it anymore, and he was done dirty, man. They treated him horribly. Like
Especially
especially
after Black Adam, right?
dude,
That was
Absolutely.
that was
horrible. That
just
was
so
horrible.
embarrassing for an actor, right? To like, he
Mm.
was so excited. He's going on talk shows talking about him coming back, and like, and I don't hold anything against James Gunn because like I get why he wanted to do his version of Superman, right? He wanted to do
Sure.
traditional Clark Kent, and and that's not Henry. Henry's story, it was in a different phase, right? He already was
True that.
pretty much married to Lois Lane. He's already been resurrected. Like you couldn't do that younger version of Superman if you
True.
that's the story you wanted to tell. So I get all that, but
Mm.
I'm very grateful we got the Snyderverse for as long as we got it. Like even with Wonder Woman, I love Aquaman.
Super
And that's
casting. Superb
you know
casting, I would say. I mean, for me,
yeah.
Henry is the best Superman out there.
Oh yeah.
Even, yeah, I mean, he embodied that, let's say, character perfectly. The persona, the charm, the vision, everything was fantastic about it. And again, unluckily, we couldn't, I mean, we won't be able to continue with that. And we are
Yeah.
pretty much optimistic with James Gunn as well. He's a very talented director, a very
Exactly.
good storyteller. The promos look good. So let's hope for, the best. Let's see.
That's all you could do, right? Like I mean, again, I just feel like we should be lucky that we're getting another Superman movie. Like you guys know, for the long time after the Christopher Reeve
Mm.
movies, it took what, decades for there to be another Superman
Superman.
movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then even after Superman Returns, it was still another gosh, like 7 years or something before Man of
Mm.
Steel. So like just
Mm.
that we're getting another Superman movie in our lifetime, I'm grateful for that because like we're getting older.
Mm.
It's
Mm.
again like sports, right? You never know when your team's going to go back to the World
True.
Cup or whatever it
True.
is, right? So I'm
Yeah.
lucky
Yeah.
we're getting this. But yeah, no, the Snyderverse, man, I love the design of it. I love the style of it. I love Batfleck. I mean, Ben Affleck. I mean,
Oof.
Michael Keaton is still my favorite Batman.
Yeah.
That's who I grew up with. But Ben Affleck he was great, and he never got to really show his full range with the character.
True that.
Like, he was great in BVS. I love that angry, bitter Batman. That was
Agreed.
awesome. And then Justice League, I love what they did it with him in Zack Snyder's Justice League. You know, but like if he had his own solo Batman movie, where and I love, dude, he looked the part. You know,
True
he
that.
he was just
He
great.
had
He
it.
was a great Batman.
I mean,
And again, it's so
yeah.
weird because I love Christian Bale too. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? It's hard to decide.
I knew what Affleck did right. I feel so bad for the guy. I mean, I don't know if you'll agree, but his Daredevil was also
Yeah,
amazing. I mean, I
yeah,
loved it as
yeah.
well, right? I mean, with Michael Clark Duncan as well in it, right?
He was
Okay, so
great.
it was amazing.
Yeah,
He poured his heart into it, right?
he
And he did the
did.
same thing with Bruce Wayne and Batman as well. And this was the Batman, after the Dark Knight Returns, we wanted to see on screen. We wanted
Right.
to see that
True that.
fight, right?
You
So,
nailed it.
but you know,
It's funny. I
that's
read
what it
this.
is.
I saw something. It was I think Mark Bernardin on the
Yeah.
Batman Beyond
Mm,
podcast. He made a
mm,
point once that
mm,
BVS would have been more successful if they had Christian Bale in it. Nothing against Ben Affleck, right?
mm,
Because we
mm,
love Ben Affleck, but just for the
mm,
emotional connection to the
mm,
audience, like if you
mm,
brought back Christian Bale, who's been established, people love Christian Bale, like,
mm,
and you brought him into this, it would have
mm,
been a very different reaction, I think. Because Ben Affleck, he was new, right? They're seeing a
mm,
new Batman for the first time. You don't
mm,
know him. You haven't spent 3 movies with him. But if you had
mm,
brought Christian Bale into it, like you've spent 3 movies with him, you know
Hmm.
him. Audience already
mm,
love him. They love Henry now because they saw Man of Steel. I'm like, that's
mm.
very interesting. Like in another universe, if they had made
Yeah,
that movie, I wonder if it would have done better.
But
yeah.
I believe, from the point of view, let's say stature,
Mm,
Ben Affleck is tall, and he
Yeah,
goes, I mean, toe to toe with, let's say, Cavill's Superman.
yeah,
So if you see them both in the frame, I think
yeah.
that might be the concept and all. Tell me about that warehouse fight sequence. Isn't that the
Oh
best
yeah, it's great. I mean, it's
Batman
fantastic. It's
in action
fantastic.
ever?
I mean, listen, I love Christopher Nolan, but he cannot. His action scenes were not great.
True.
You
yeah.
know, but yeah, that warehouse scene. What I love about it is there's no you can't see the CGI, right? You can't
Mm,
see any special effects. It all looks practical. It all looks like it happened. And it all looks realistic too. It's not like he's doing anything. He's doing superhuman stuff, but it
mm,
doesn't look like cartoony, right? It
mm,
doesn't look like he's getting hurt. He's getting stabbed. He's getting beat
Hmm.
up. Man, and that whole fight, and then it leads into Wonder Woman's first appearance in live act in the
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah,
Man, that is
badass.
still the best. Like the music
Super badass.
hits,
And the theme song hits right.
the
Yeah,
theme song
fantastic.
hits. Henry's right there looking amazing. Ben Affleck in the Batman suit, and just the way that it looks like the most epic fight you've ever seen. And then, dude, when they in Zack Snyder's Justice League, when they bring Darkseid into it, dude, when
Hmm.
Wonder Woman chops his head off, like Steppenwolf's head
Steppenwolf's
off,
head off. Yeah.
that was. I love it. I know. Listen, I know people are like, "Oh, superheroes shouldn't kill," blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
But you know
lot
what?
of bullshit.
I'm fine with that. I love it. I think it was so amazing. Oh man, you make me want to go watch it right now. Like
Bro,
honestly, You-
first time you see ZS, I mean, Zack Snyder's Justice League after that, it blows your mind away.
it's
Totally different
amazing.
movie. The music, the score, the story, everything super. That's master storytelling for me. I mean, after, let's say, 300, I believe it
Yeah.
is Zack Snyder's very strong outing.
Oh, it's
Fan of,
amazing.
yeah,
Listen, I only have about 10 minutes left, so I wanted to ask you guys something
yeah,
on
go
the
ahead.
thing.
Shoot.
So bringing it back to McFarlane for a minute and the DC line, what figures do you want to see that he has not done yet?
In the DC line.
Yeah. What's your dream? What's your dream figures like for you guys as collectors?
See, I would want him to do a lot of the Batman, but I want him to do not particularly Bruce Wayne Batman.
Yeah.
There's a
Okay.
lot of time where Nightwing has become Batman, in the Battle of the Cowl and all that.
Yeah.
You can see that it's not the original Batman because his stature is not, he's not
Yeah,
that
yeah.
built, right? So, and I want to see a little bit of mixture of, Damian Wayne Batman. I want to see a little bit more of, metal as well. So the characters that we
Yeah,
saw in
okay.
metal, something like that. So those are my, things, and something that's been on top of my mind for multiversity. I
Oh
want
yes.
to do multiversity.
Okay.
And
That's a great pick.
Give a teenage, 90210 Justice League. Give me that.
Okay. Wow. I love that. I'm right there with you, man. Because I love it
Yeah.
when they go unique, right? Because I've been collecting for so long. I have all the classic versions of this
Sorry. Yeah.
from some version, right? From some one of the lines. So I love it when they go a little zany, when they go a little out there with their designs and make it a little crazy. But Raj, what about you? What would you be your picks?
At the moment, I'm happy with their overall library
Yeah.
of it. The Spawn collection, I really like.
Yeah. So
Apart
no
from
unmade dream figures, like nothing
no,
from. Yeah.
I was
No.
thinking the way they, I mean, craft and all that. If they are going into the, gaming verse, then there is a series called Bloodborne. So it
Oh
connects
yeah.
a hell lot with those creatures and those designs. I would definitely love to buy those.
But that's a very good point. Now, there's a lot of people out there. I know McFarlane, dipped into Marvel as well by doing some statues as well.
Yeah.
If they dip into the gaming world, which I know they've done before with Metal
Yeah.
Gear Solid and a couple of other games because I had those action figures. If they do it again, that's gonna be a hit. Bloodborne is
I
a
mean-
very good example of that. Yeah.
If they did a Final Fantasy line, I wouldn't complain. Like even though I don't play it anymore, like give me some Final Fantasy 7 figures that are affordable, right? Because
Dude, even if they do the polygon versions, I'm
Yes,
happy. I am
yes.
sold.
I know. There's this Cloud and his what's his motorcycle called? I forget the name of it. I think they released it a few years ago, and now it's still
Yeah.
expensive. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. But no, those are good choices. I would love to see more Man of Steel. I would love to see a Man of Steel wave,
Yeah.
like with General Zod, that really big guy.
Oh yes.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Who was the Feora?
There,
He would be-
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
They never
even
did that line, right? Even in the original
yeah.
was right when collectibles was there, right? They did
no,
that.
so Mattel did that. They did.
Yeah.
You can get Feora and Zod from the Mattel
also
line.
Play
They're
Arts,
pretty
I
nice.
believe. Play Arts.
Yeah,
have them.
Ah.
There you go. Play Arts did one as well. Yeah, that's what I hope they get to that. Because like from the movie perspective, they still have to do Batman Returns, the original Batman. I don't think they'll be able to do Jack Nicholson because it's just too hard to get his license to do him.
Wow.
But I think Man of Steel, I feel like, is a definite possibility, and I think that would be amazing.
And I'm not
you
seeing a
know?
lot of Man of Steel action figures as well, to be honest with you. I'm not seeing
Not really,
Very
right?
rare.
So yeah, like, and I think they need to do a new Henry Cavill. Like the head sculpt's not the best on the one they've done, like, especially when you look at it next to that Christopher Reeve figure that they released. Like that's a great head sculpt.
That's
I think.
amazing. That's
You know,
great.
so Yeah, but yeah, those are good choices. Those are good choices. I would love to see those as well. But yeah, very exciting stuff from McFarlane, man. I just wish they didn't release so much because it's very expensive every month. These pre-orders
Uh,
when they go up, and like over
yeah.
here, they seem to be making a little bit less of it because,
Mm.
like, I think for the first few years, they got to the point where I think most companies where there were just too many action figures being produced, they're all
Mm.
ending up on clearance, right? So
Mm.
now they make a little bit less or a lot less. So like you feel more pressure to pre-order it and get it right away because you might miss out on it like later, you know?
True, true,
Oh,
true, true.
Yeah, especially popular stuff like Bane and things like that,
Mm.
you know?
Mm.
So it's a little challenging sometimes.
I know they did Nightfall recently as well, where
They did,
he's
yeah, they did the
breaking the
Nightfall.
Batman.
But
That
oh
was
yeah,
also
that's a
cool.
great
That was
figure,
cool.
you know?
Yeah.
Now, do you other than McFarlane, do you guys collect like Mayfax, SH
Yeah,
Figure
yeah.
Arts, all of it? I know,
Mayfix. Mayfix is my favorite line. I mean, I love
dude,
Mayfix. I
they're
don't know
fantastic.
for
They
what reason. The quality, the everything, the articulation, and goes perfect with the NECA street set as well.
okay.
Amazing.
Ashoka,
Yeah.
statues or action figures? Which ones you prefer or you have?
Oh
We
man.
can see it at the back also.
Yeah.
Also, Babar behind you, that dark side. It's Iron
Yeah,
Studios,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, that's Iron
You
Can
can
you
Studios.
see a
grab
few
that? Can
statues
you bring
over
it
there,
in the front? Oh
you
my
know?
God. Yeah, yeah. Oof. That's a
Uh,
holy grail.
that's a beautiful one. Look at that. Oh man, that is gorgeous. Where's that from?
That's Iron Studios. You can see
Oh,
Steppenwolf's head as well
dude.
there, right? I don't know if you can see
Oh my
that.
God. Dude, that is amazing. Like
Sick,
here's the
sick.
thing, like I love statues, but they're so delicate. And like
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
I end up moving stuff around so much. I always
Mhm.
end up chipping things, right? Like you see my Henry statue right there in the back. Like
Mhm, mhm.
that's my favorite statue, and
Too
even
good.
that, like I've chipped it, and I had to glue the finger back
Oh.
on because like I'm always moving stuff around. I'm a little clumsy, things like that. But I prefer action figures. It's funny. DC Direct for me, McFarlane's the best when they are doing. But it's like kind of a mix between Mattel and DC Direct, where you have some sculpts that are just as good
Hmm.
as DC Direct. Like for example, I just did a reel this morning on this Hush Batman. So this one's the DC Direct. This
Uh,
one's McFarlane. And at the
yeah,
end of the
yeah.
day, like McFarlane has the sculpt and articulation, where DC Direct, had less articulation. I don't
Very
really care about
limited.
articulation,
Hmm.
honestly. Like they sit on the shelf, so I don't really care if they do all these. I don't do crazy poses and things like that. I'm pretty
Yeah,
boring
yeah.
in that regard. But I definitely prefer action figures. Now, I think again that nostalgia of buying an action figure, the joy it still brings me. Getting it, opening it up. You know what I mean? It's still
True that.
that feeling. You're right, Big B. It's better than smoking. You
True.
talked me out of
I mean
becoming a
that high.
smoker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I think I'm gonna stick with action figures.
We all
But
gotta sniff the new smell of action figures.
oh man, it's the best, dude. It's the best.
True
But
that.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. What was your next question?
You haven't told us your favorite Batmobile. And
Oh
which one
man.
is at the top? I mean, it's your preference, like first, second, third, fourth.
So great question. So a lot of people commented on that, right? On that reel, like the order I had it in, because I
Even
didn't
I
have it.
was, yeah, yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. But I did not have it in a logical order. I just like literally I forgot. Honestly, I wasn't even thinking when I put it together. I just put it up, right? So it was I didn't was it, but the order wasn't by.
The
It was
first
more
one
by.
up above,
Yeah.
that's Keaton or Wall Kilmer's one, right? Which
It
one
was
is it?
so yeah. So the reason why Val Kilmer's was at the top of that shelf is because I have the Hot Toys one in my shed. So like I didn't feel
That's a
like I
beauty.
needed. Yeah. So like that's my favorite Batmobile. The '89 Batmobile. Excuse me. It's still my favorite Batmobile.
It's
Kilmer comes in
iconic.
second. You know. I'll see Batman and Robin. I love that, but that comes in third. And then I'd go with the Tumbler,
Tumblr.
Batfleck, and again, this is not like I love all of them, right? Like the Tumblr and Batfleck, I can't even put them separately, right? It'd go
Tactic.
Hmm.
Keaton,
You can say
everyone
there is
else,
one
yeah,
tank and the other is F1.
exactly. Raj, great way to put it. I think at the bottom, sadly, is Robert Pattinson's
Hmm.
Batmobile. It's still a beautiful Batmobile. It fits the context of the movie, right? Like what they were tell, but it's just not Batmobile looking enough for me. Like it doesn't look like a Batmobile. It just looks like a really cool souped up car, right?
Let's pick let's pick all three cars together.
Yeah.
Okay. Tumblr's gonna ram it.
Oh
in
yeah,
a second.
easily in 2 seconds, right?
2
Same thing with the
seconds.
Batfleck one, right? Like that thing's
Ooh,
a military grade piece of equipment,
too good.
like
Too good.
yeah, Robert Pattinson's one, he built it, it's homemade. I bet you in the next movie it's going to be a lot better, or a lot more advanced. But I would say that's the order. But yeah, the shelf, man, people are so OCD about the order. They're like, you have it out of order. I'm like, listen, guys, I'm not thinking about it that hard. Okay, like it's not that big of a deal. Excuse me.
Too good.
Yeah, and I know maybe you wanted to talk about Instagram a little bit and the social media thing.
Yeah.
Like people always ask me like, "Hey man, how did you get so many followers? How did you like build that
Yeah.
account?" Honestly, it's just time, right? Like I started seriously posting on Instagram in like 2015, 2016. So like 10 years on Instagram is how I've
There's a lot
amassed
of time.
it's a
A
lot of
lot of
time,
time.
man. Like
Yep.
it's a lot of time, and I will say it ebbs and flows. And I think if you are trying to grow your Instagram following, you just have to stay consistent. You got to post every day, and you have to keep posting for years before you might crack that social
Very
media
true.
wall. Honestly,
Very
like right now, my focus is more on YouTube because YouTube is just it's fun. I like creating videos. Honestly, you get paid better on YouTube. Like it's
Absolutely.
fun. My favorite thing in life, excuse me, is when people are surprised that I have a full time job because they think I do this for a living. They think that like this is my job. It is not. I do not make any money
Sorry.
off
Yeah.
Instagram. Having that many followers, sure, I get free toys every now and then, but that does not pay the bills.
That's
So
the coolest part.
True.
that is cool. Let me tell you, it's like it is amazing. But the highlight of my collecting life was when I got to work with DC Direct while they were still around. But it's like DC Comics reached out to me and said, "Hey, we want to work with you. We want to send you action figures to promote, right?" And that was just like it was amazing, right? It was just a great feeling working with your favorite company, So that was a highlight. But yeah, getting free action figures obviously is great. I still spend way too much though. Like it's funny. I don't know. I still get some free stuff, but at the end of the day, I still spend way more than I get. And I'm getting some stuff today that I'll be posting that they're sending me some preview
Great
stuff.
for that.
So
Great.
it'll be good
Great.
stuff. But yeah, I would say with Instagram, guys, just stick with it. Just keep posting every day. Even what you guys are doing on this podcast, right? You might not see huge numbers for a long time, right? But at the end of the day, that's what I love about YouTube too. Like I don't have that many subscribers. I have like a nice little amount, but I love the people who do watch me and like my show, like or what I do. This is fun, right? Like it's just fun when people like what you produce. But I'm sorry, I have to run. I gotta go get ready for work now.
No
Actually,
worries.
just
But
to finish it off with one short story, it was
yeah,
actually Babar's idea 4 years back. Let's start podcasting, and we didn't listen
look at
to him.
that.
And today we are here after 4 years.
Look at that. Well, listen,
Yeah.
sometimes it takes time, man. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And time
True.
goes by quickly. My friend told me once, the days are long, but the years are short. And
Very
man,
nice.
isn't that true?
Very nice.
Those
Very
years
nice.
just especially when you have kids, it's just
Yeah.
like
Absolutely.
it flies by. So
Flies
congratulations, guys, on this
Thank you, sir.
podcast. You guys are
Thank
both
you very
very
much, man.
amazing people, great
Thank
hosts.
you.
And
Thank
please, I
you.
would love to be on again. So let me know maybe in a couple of months. We'd love
It
to.
was a real honor having you on the
Thank
show.
you.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for showing us your collections. Our fans
Oh
are very
man,
happy to see you guys. All right. Next time, definitely for sure. If you're
yeah.
in the area, if we're in the hood,
Oh
we'll
yeah.
drop by. Okay.
Same. You guys ever come over here? Same thing.
Done. Done.
Absolutely.
We'll get
Done.
together.
Done. That is
Thank you
fine.
guys so much
Take
today,
care.
man.
Thank you.
You guys have
Thank
a great night. Have a great
you. You
weekend.
too.
Take
So
care.
Thank
take
you.
care.
Thank
Take care.
you.
Love you.
Bye. Peace.